Countries rely on a finely balanced mix of fuels to produce electricity. Japan is the world's biggest importer of conventional fuels like coal and liquefied natural gas, or LNG, and the world's third largest oil consumer. Up to last week, 30% of electricity was produced by nuclear. The earthquake and tsunami will change that mix, at least in the short term.
This is a game changer on a number of levels for nuclear and also secondarily for gas and for oil too.
Energy producers and companies are now having to scramble. Within hours of the earthquake, for instance, prices went higher for LNG in Britain. Shell, for one, says it's already diverting LNG to Japan to make up for the lost nuclear power.
I think the preferred route is going to be more LNG coming to Japan. Now, of course, the implications of Asian LNG being diverted to Japan is that less cargoes will head to Europe. So that could affect prices in Europe.
But it's not clear that natural gas prices should jump in the medium term, affecting gas bills for consumers around the world.
We've got an interesting situation globally with North America importing much less than had been expected now. Because of rising domestic production, and so therefore there is some slack in the system, and there's already talk about Middle East producers, particularly Qatar, shifting volumes that were destined for the Atlantic Basin to Japan.
In a normal market, natural gas prices generally move with oil prices, but oil fell shortly after the quake, since Japan will need less oil in the near term as factories are shut, refineries are damaged. And what about coal? Could it now see a renaissance? Emerging countries like China produce and use coal. So does the United States. Would Japan now become an even bigger coal importer? Coal prices are expected to rise even before it's clear.
It can take somewhere around 3 to 5 years to build a coal-fired power plant. I think in countries like Japan, where they now have to think about a change in the generation mix, it's not clear where coal is going to fit in from that perspective.
The big question now for long-term supply and prices, will the West move firmly away from nuclear? Roughly a third of Europe's electricity is generated by nuclear power, much higher, of course, in France. More nuclear was becoming one way countries were planning to cut carbon emissions, instead of burning more coal and using pricey oil to generate electricity. For now, LNG appears to be the fuel of choice. Jim Bolden, CNN, London.